political presidential candidates talking about doubling the size of the military and looking at how our Navy has been shrinking and we're going to expand that. I mean, is this reality in your world and in our, do we sit back here as small business and say, hey, this is great, that we got an opportunity to put a lot of things in front of everybody if we're really going to ramp up the armed forces in some significant way? And if so, is there a vision of what that looks like that is matching some of the campaigns?
So I put this slide up for it. I'll start with this. I have the advantage of not being in office. So
Yeah.
I can say what I believe, and no one's editing my talking points except myself. He doesn't have that luxury.
Right.
But let me start with this, okay? Because I was going to get to this anyway. So look, this is sort of a demand profile up on the board over there. You can see it in the back. And here you can have this version, since I know what's in there. It's a couple pages in. And this just shows you kind of where the defense budget went. Look at where we were at 2000 and where we've gone back to. And these are look, the sky is not falling, number one. We've had a number of years of sequester. Okay, the budgets have come down. But they've come down from the highest budgets in history. Okay? And so what are we looking at going forward? What I will tell you is, both candidates have said they would like to have defense spending above the sequester level. Hillary Clinton said it, Donald Trump has said it, okay? Now, I said this morning when you weren't here, I think to some degree that will happen, but that's constrained by a number of factors, all right? One is, I don't think you're going to see a Congress, even if the Senate changed hands, it's unlikely the House will. I don't think you can see a Congress that's materially different than today. That's my guess, all right? Maybe you'll have some change in the number of seats in the House. Maybe you'll have a Democratic Senate, but one way or the other it's going to be somewhat similar. And what's happened the last couple of years? The last 2 years, the sequester's been lifted, but only in an incremental way. Why? Because the two biggest blocks of votes in Congress really are, there's a series of Republican budget hawks with whom that comes first. They don't want to spend much money, but they're willing to make a special exception for defense. On the other hand, the Democrats, the lion's share, say, we're okay with that as long as that doesn't come out of the height of the domestic programs. And so that's why what you've seen in the incremental increase in sequester is, a comparability of what's happened, right? An increase in both. And my own guess is, as I said this morning, what happened at time T is what's likely to happen at time T+1, whoever is president. Now, Mr. Trump has laid out a series of numbers in a speech last week. He wants a 350 size Navy. President Obama's for 306. There's a consensus for a bigger Navy. We're at about 270 ships today. 350 is unrealistic. 350 is not likely to be funded by Congress. And if you told the shipyards to do it today, it would take them 15 years. All right? So it's not realistic. All right? He has laid out other numbers, tactical aircraft, number of forces. He claims, when he says, first of all, the cost of that, the experts are all over the place, but you're looking at a sizable increase in the defense budget. 10, 20 to 40, 50%, depending on which expert you listen to, and what the full contours of those proposals are, which we don't know. All right. What people say, now when you ask Mr. Trump where he's going to get the money from that for, well, he tells you he's going to get it by stopping government payments to unauthorized recipients on programs. There's a series of steps like that to essentially collect money. The problem with all of his steps, you have to invest to do the law. So it's going to cost some money to go do those things, and it's not clear it's going to produce it. The bottom line, I think the consensus among budget experts is those are not realistic ways to pay as you go for those things. And it would have to come out of the height of the domestic program. So my answer to you is that yes, there'll be some increase. Yes, everybody would like a somewhat bigger Navy, all right? Yes, everybody's concerned about readiness, but I would, whoever wins, I would not expect to see any kind of a massive build up.
So with the expectations, is the government really planning for that? I mean, are they looking for small business to support that difference in where we were with Sequester and now that we're incrementally letting it out? I mean, is the demand curve starting to go up that small businesses can think that they can participate in the next 4 years?
Yeah, I hope so. It should. And we certainly plan for it. So just to put a little perspective into the conversation, Jeff's exactly right. I have nothing to add to what he said. He's just spot on. But small business should feel very good about where we are today and where we are moving forward. I suspect that budgets will remain flat and incrementally increase. We're in cyclical business anyway, so there will be a significant increase sometime in the future. But even when you look back at RDT&E spend, so where we make investments, research development, a place again where a lot of small companies participate, those budgets remain flat over the last 3 years, including the sequester year. We maintain those.